there's a clear line legally and in, principle that you shouldn't use government resources to campaign, that there should be no use of federal funding, of federal property to campaigning. How does that work when, back you were White House cabinet secretary for President Clinton? How did we make sure that didn't happen?
Well, the line is a very bright line. It's very clear, and past administrations have not had any trouble placing themselves on the proper side of that legal line. The key to what you're talking about and what's been going on for the last several years, and in a very pronounced way over the last couple of months, is misuse of federal offices, federal property, and even staff. He uses the White House literally itself as a backdrop. His press secretary now often uses the White House press room for what are, by any measure, campaign statements. These are all clear violations of not just the ethics laws, but the spirit of what candidates sign on for when they pursue public office in the United States at the federal level. His playbook is not so much an example of his brilliant campaign strategy. I think he just lifted his planning from Amin and baby Doc Duvalier in terms of what he thinks is appropriate behavior for a chief executive.
I tell you, this picture kind of jumped out at me, and this was from about a week ago, very recently, about the regulatory burden, how the Republicans and the Trump administration are lifting the regulatory burden off of the Americans. This is an idea I'm sure I would have come up with in some planning meeting, saying, well, we need some symbolism, so let's do a blue truck and load that up with all the regulations, and then let's use a red truck to show how we're going to unburden people. And somebody would have said to me, and there was this, Steve, you can't do that. Right? You can't be so blatant as to show the Democrats are blue and they're bad, but the red Republicans are good. And this would have gotten shut down. Of course, this doesn't get shut down in the Trump administration. And so, Peter, my question for you is this going to work? Is this blatant disregard of the rules and of standards going to help Trump get reelected?
Well, he's going to continue to do it. It's been said that, and it's been proven that everything that Trump touches, he soils, whether it's individuals or whether it's institutions, whether it's the monuments. This guy is running a self-promotional criminal enterprise, and he'll get away with it as long as the sycophants in the Senate allow him to get away with it. And the press calls him on it, at least everyone except Fox, but he's going to keep doing it. Now, is the general public uncomfortable with this? I think they're growing. There's a growing unease that this guy has crossed the line. I think he crossed the line when he went to the church, waving the Bible. And people understand that there is something not right with the president, even though he did pass that very difficult test given to Alzheimer patients.
So you think this could backfire eventually? That he's crossed so many lines and he's done so many things that he shouldn't have done, that this is not going to work at the end of the day?
I think there are some that are looking at these pictures like the one you showed and say, that's not right. That's the White House. That's the people's house, right? I own a piece of that. And it's not somebody's campaign prop for a cheap political toy. It's a sacred place for democracy. And he's soiling it, just like he soils individuals, just like he soils other institutions.
Thurgood, I remember back in our time, I don't think you were involved in this, but when Al Gore, as vice president, used a phone in the old executive office building to make fundraising phone calls. And that was the scandal. And I remember the vice president said there was no controlling legal authority, and this played out for days and days and days. This is not, can you imagine what would have happened if anything like this had been pulled by prior administrations, Obama, Clinton, or even Bush?
No, it's astounding, but it gets back to the whole normalization issue with his various behaviors, and it dates back to the transition when he took this language that is in place in large measure about conflict of interest and the President of the United States. It's in place in large measure to make sure that the chief executive, as a decision maker, can exercise the authority of the presidency despite the possibility that there may be a conflict of interest. It doesn't mean that a president could not have a conflict of interest, but he somehow inferred from this protection, which is there to allow a president to exercise the powers of the office. He somehow took that to mean conflicts of interest are great or good for the president. And it's as if he's doing these behaviors now, and his rationale is this twisted version of, well, it can't be wrong if I'm doing it.
You know, it's been said that, you know, Trump's administration, you know, it's like a family criminal enterprise. And it is, you know, you've got the daughter negotiating, you know, licenses for her Chinese products while she's working in the Oval Office. You've got cabinet and sub-cabinet capos trying to please their boss by coming up with you know, schemes that will make him politically look good or please him. It really is just simply disgraceful. But you're going to have, I think, some of the, you know, conservative leaning independents, you know, who just have a sense that the republic is better than this and deserves better than this.